Hello, my name is Terry Ringham, and I'm going to speak to you a little bit about gut health and metals, a little bit about metals and chemicals and how they affect our gut health, but also other parts of what we can do for our gut. I want to thank Tim Boone for putting this on and asking me to speak to you. And so we're going to try to keep this, Tim's asked, keep it around 20 minutes. That's what I'm going to try to do. It's hard when I get this mouth going. So once again, welcome. My name is Terry Ringham, and I'm going to talk to you about gut health and metals, chemicals a little bit. So my history, I'll keep it, I'm also going to work with the elements here. I'm outside on our boat, and as you can see, it's a little breezy. I'm hoping the sun and the wind will cooperate. So if I talk fast, that's part of it, and I talk fast by nature anyway. So my history is, why did I get involved in gut health? I'm going to keep this short. A child on 12 medications by age 18 due to extreme hormone conditions. Myself, fibromyalgia and lupus. And our child had been on, she'd been on 12 medications by age 18, 4 failed surgeries. So when I had the diagnosis of fibromyalgia and lupus, and also was recommended to take large amount of medications, I refused to do that because we had no luck, and we saw the lack of results with our child. So we went into alternative health and mainly research on my own, and that's what most of us can do because nobody knows our body or our child's body like we do. So and the other thing is, was it risky to deal with her on 12 meds? Yeah, and working off them, but it did go amazingly well. And the other thing is, what did we have to lose, right? So for anyone with the autoimmune conditions, a lot of gut health issues, really, what do you have to lose? If you've been doing years and years and years of treatment and it's not better, I guess I'd try something else, and that's what we did. Although I won't say it came easy. We had to be shocked into doing it with seizures in the emergency room and fear of losing our child. So I hope you don't get to that point before you decide to try alternative health. Back in our day when I started with this, there wasn't as much information available, so it took a little more for me. So what we found when we went to alternative health, or I found with research, was inevitably my treatment that was making me better was the same thing mostly that I was doing with my daughter for getting better, and ultimately that came round to gut health and how much it affects the entire body, the brain, the nervous system, the joints. And you know, we think, well, I don't have a gut health issue, but I'll tell you this, if you have a health issue, you have a gut health issue as well, in some form or manner, to some degree. Okay, because ultimately this guy controls everything else in the body. So what I found is, by focusing on that, ditching a lot of the supplements, a lot of the treatments, the protocols, at least for a while. Yeah, we need vitamin B and we need vitamin C and we need all these things, but if this thing is not absorbing it, and if we're inflaming it, we are undoing 10 times over anything we're gaining by using those. So instead of focusing there, let's focus here and let's work on that. So that's what we did. And what we found, inevitably, everybody has the same things that inflame the gut. Now I'm going to work with extreme sun, so we'll hope that I can continue and it's not too disruptive. But everybody has the same things ultimately. I mean, there's lots of extras, but if you have allergies, whatever, but if you have allergies, it's usually from inflamed gut, long and the short. And so the same things that inflame the gut are the same for most of us, and that is your metals, your chemicals, medications, gluten, certainly. It's like sandpaper to the lining, and many people are like, well, I don't have a gluten issue. Well, how do you know? If you have a health issue, I would surely try giving up gluten. And it's not easy, that's for sure. It's in many things, but gluten is not a natural substance to the human body. So it's the best thing if you can just minimize it or get rid of it as much as possible. You don't need testing to tell you whether you, to tell you whether you have a gluten issue. I would just try giving it up, see what your results are. That has worked better for us than any testing in the world. So we go with the big culprits. The gluten, the chemicals, the metals, preservatives in your boxed and bags goods, those are all disruptive. And when you have things like that inflame the gut, which these things do, is kind of like dominoes throughout the body, okay? We inflame these membranes. This is a tennis court, a square foot space in the body. And when we inflame that, those membranes, it's like dominoes throughout the body. We inflame just it starts here and it just goes throughout the body up to the brain, sinuses, lungs, joints, adrenals, all glands, and your organs. So they inflame. Now where it's going to manifest in you, it's going to be your most susceptible area, and for each of us that's a different area. But ultimately, inflammation, on almost all health articles you'll read, natural health, inflammation is a huge factor in health conditions. Where does that inflammation start? Almost always in the gut, from the same basic culprits that I've already mentioned. So that's why we like to focus in that area. Your sugar is also a big one. Legumes are a culprit a lot of times. So you've got your vegans, vegetarians. The problem is legumes, you know, pressure cooking is certainly a good thing. Our grandparents knew well what to do with legumes. Surprisingly, they were ahead of us on a lot of things, actually. So these things also literally can not only inflame, to have this inflammation go out throughout the body, but also your metals and your chemicals, especially your glyphosate, literally can like poke holes in that gut lining. For lack of a better, I'm not going to give you the scientific description, I don't have it, but in effect, it comes down to pokes holes in the gut lining. Things like glyphosate and metals literally poke holes in the brain lining. So causing that inflammation, causing toxins to get in, and that's where we see a lot of our issues. So those metals, when we have the leaky gut, we call it leaky gut when it's got the holes in the gut lining, that allows toxins that were supposed to go out in the bowel movements. I always say this, think how your bowel movements smell, think how your poop stinks. Now imagine that, those toxins going out throughout your body and settling into the cells, the organs, the glands. That's what happens with leaky gut. So we're back again to gut health being, if we can fix that gut, if we can repair that gut, that we can have a huge difference in the rest of our body health. Okay? So it's a factor in a lot of the autoimmune conditions. So our doctor's approach is, which is what both fibromyalgia and lupus are for me, it's what allergies are, MS, Parkinson's ultimately comes down that the majority of major health, chronic health issues are nowadays pretty much fall under the autoimmune label. And when we have autoimmune, the doctors will term this as, or they are confused on how to treat us. So it's kind of like they do shooting a shotgun at a wall and they hope that something's going to work out because they admittedly say they don't know what causes the autoimmune conditions. In the medical field, the medical system, the mindset is autoimmune condition is that our body, is that we have a faulty immune system and it's attacking a healthy cell. When in essence, that's not true. It's actually our body, our immune system is working exactly as God designed it to do, because remember we just talked about leaky gut and the toxins, including those bacteria, viruses, parasites, those all were supposed to stay within the gut and go out the bowel movements. But they too go through those holes, the leaky gut, and settle in the cells, membranes, areas of the body. So when they settle in our cells and membranes, then the body's immune system does exactly what God designed it to do in the first place, and that it's attacking the cell that has an invader in it. It's attacking the invader, okay? But we never were supposed to have those invaders escape out of the gut. So once again, we repair the gut lining to help with autoimmune conditions. We all keep circling back to that gut for so many reasons. And so what's our sources of a lot of it that damages? I've mentioned a few of them. Medications, your preservatives in your boxed and bagged foods, your dyes, your flavorings. Those are chemicals that are so damaging to the body. A lot of your vaccine carriers, you have formaldehyde in there. Metals, aluminum, methyl mercury, and they'll tell you, oh, they're not in there, or the body will break it down and excrete them, and that's not true either. The body might be able to get rid of a bit of them, but it can never. Metals are not an easy thing to excrete, break down. Think about a metal. You know, you think your body's just going to break that down and excrete it? No, it's not. So there is a faulty system in our vaccine carriers. So I think one of the best things for our babies right now, I hate to say it, is going to be this quarantine period that we have going home, people staying home, and the well baby visits, and to see let's see what happens with the health conditions on some of our babies, including eczema, allergies, etc. So these carriers are very toxic, and they're very powerful to permeate through the brain lining and the gut lining, and then they settle in there, and the body, like I say, cannot break them down and excrete them, and then you get into your issues with your autism, epilepsy, seizures, and then your autoimmune conditions. So where do we get some of these metals is in your, as I mentioned, some of the vaccines have the carriers in them that have the metals. MRI contrast has gadolinium, that's a metal, and it's very powerful in causing harm to the body. Not all MRIs have it. It'll depend on the doctor and the contrast they use, but some do have it. So that's another, right? Your tooth fillings, your metal tooth fillings, the mercury, your silver fillings have it. Cheap toys and jewelry, the lead paint, drinking water, the cities and their insane decisions to add fluoride based on dentists, recommendation, or the dental health recommendation. And your dental treatments, yeah, putting fluoride on the gums. There's just a, it surrounds us, the metals that are permeating into our drinking water, to our environment, chemtrails, etc. So again, the membranes absorb these, it inflames, gives us health issues, embeds in the bone, the glands, the organs. And your toxic bucket, your body will break down a little of these chemicals, some of these things, but again, God never created the human body to break down and excrete the massive amount of chemicals we have in our environment today, and metals. So basically your toxic bucket will fill up, and at some point it overflows, and when it overflows is when you'll see a major health condition. So there is no supplement or medication that's going to resolve that. A poisoned body, that's what we have. And these are not going to remove that stuff. So ultimately, you've got the glyphosate is one of the big ones. That's why organic eating, people say, I can't afford to do it, and I agree. It's insane, and it's terrible that our government taxes and adds certification costs to organic farmers when it's so badly what we need. But glyphosate, the fertilizers and pesticides themselves have metals in them that go on the food. You can't wash all that off. You just can't. So the glyphosate especially is awful. It's actually put in some vaccines. And why? Because it pokes the holes. It opens up the membranes of the brain to let some of the carriers, let the biologic in the vaccine in. But unfortunately, we're damaging the brain and the gut membranes, all the membranes in the body. And again, those are settling into the body. So what do we do for that? Quickly, if I'm going to stay within my 20 minutes, we want to soothe. Again, bring everything back to avoiding the chemicals and the damaging foods, and then let's soothe the gut and the rest of the body by soothing the gut. Liquid aloe vera, George's liquid aloe vera is the best I've found for no preservatives in it. You'll find on Amazon, major health food stores, big grocery stores a lot of times will have it. George's liquid aloe vera, just add a pour to your drinking water every once in a while. It's tasteless, it's very healing and soothing, because if we have a health condition, you have a body in chaos. When we add medications, powerful treatments that some of these doctors and surgeons are using, you got a body already in chaos. Now you go give it anesthetics, the powerful medications, injections, IVs. You're just taking this poor body that's screaming for help, and you are giving it more chaos. So what we want to do, start back to the gut, circle back to this gut, soothe it. Liquid aloe vera, there are some good leaky gut supplements, Dr. Axe, Dr. Mercola, in one capsule, so you don't have to take a plethora of supplements. You could do one of those for a while and soothe that gut lining. CBD is a good thing to use as well. And always look at your diet. That's the big thing. The glyphosate, the pesticides, fertilizers, those things, if we're not doing organic, unfortunately are coming into the gut and causing powerful damage. So organic really needs to be, I hate to say, and organic's not perfect, but guess what? Because that's a big excuse I hear from people. Oh, those organic certifications aren't all correct. Well, they might not be perfect, but I'll guarantee the bulk of organic is tremendously better than what we see from the commercial farms. And that includes your meats, certainly your meats, your grass-fed, your pastured. Those are things you want to look for and get away from those chemicals. So you know, we know we have the chemicals and metals, the past damage. So how do we get those out? That's where I said I will talk a little bit about using your TRS. And that's why Tim has me on, and that's the point of one of your class, one of the points. And TRS is going to be, it's a powerful negative charge. It's a zeolite, so it's a natural thing from the earth, zeolites are. There are many kinds of zeolites. This is clinoptilolite zeolite. And the reason for that particular zeolite in this is because, and it's actually been used for centuries, that particular zeolite, in larger form, to try and absorb the toxins. And that's what that particular zeolite is known for absorbing toxins. It's got a powerful negative charge. And when we put it in our body, and this one we can just do as simple as a spray in the mouth. That's it, and let it sit for a little while, 30 seconds to a minute before you drink or eat. And it's good for your children who don't like to take pills or capsules. This is a great thing. So we take the TRS, it's got that molecular cage, powerful charge that first attracts the toxins. And then again, this is actually nano-sized, so it's very minuscule components. And that's vital for it to be able to permeate through the gut lining and absorb through the brain lining to go get some of those chemicals and metals that have been forced into it over the years. For some of us, for decades. And so we use that like a magnet. The powerful negative charge attracts the positively charged chemicals and metals, and then it absorbs it into that molecular cage, which is just the form of this type of zeolite, and absorbs it into the molecular cage to gently carry it out through the body. Much better on the liver, the digestive system than a lot of these powdered zeolites. And it actually goes more areas because of it being nano-sized than any type of powdered zeolite or another spray on the market that is larger size. That's what's so important about this particular one. So we absorb them, we carry them out the body, excrete them, and our body can do amazing things if you talk to people that have been using the TRS. It's one component in gut health where the metals and the chemicals have settled into the gut lining, the brain lining throughout the body, but especially the gut lining, it settles in there, and you can't heal it if it's got disruptive, remember I said everything's disrupted and in chaos. You've got these disruptive chemicals and metals in there. That's the zeolite's job. Go get that, your TRS. After that, you want to do your liquid aloe vera. You want to be particular what you eat. I mean, you can't, we all gonna sin and live. You got to live a little. But if every single day you're living off commercial food with glyphosate and the chemicals on it and eating bagged foods with preservatives, dyes, that's where we got to change things up. And usually you'll find once you change it up a little, you start to crave the better food. Okay? So we got to let the body function properly. When we remove the poisons, the toxins, then we don't always need a ton of supplements and things. The human body has an amazing ability to heal. The problem with the human body today, it's so infiltrated with chemicals and metals, it can't heal. So when we remove those, we take away a lot of that disruption, a lot of the chaos and the inflammation, and that's key, because when we have extreme inflammation, the body can't heal. So we take those things away, and then we let the human body do what it does naturally, and that is to regenerate and to heal itself, come to homeostasis. So that's the point, okay? I do have a book on Amazon, Essential Gut and Hormone Wellness, that talks about a lot of these things, especially the hormone gals. I have a large section on the hormones, but I try to keep it just like I do when I talk to you here. The basics, talk in a way that makes sense, and then it makes it a lot easier to get started and to overcome the overwhelming amount of information out there. And that's why when we get overwhelmed, circle back around, bring it back to your gut health. Focus in that area and know that when we repair the gut, we take away a lot of the inflammation and disruption so the human body can do what it does naturally, and that is to heal. Okay? Thanks so much for joining me. Appreciate it. Appreciate the time here today, and hope to see you again another time. Thank you.